Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel's Finding Value. Today we're going to go through and do our daily technical analysis update of commodities, work our way through the dollar, yields, precious metals, and commodities ETFs that I follow. If you need help with anything, check out finding-value.com. That's where I dive deeper into all of these subjects, into individual companies looking for potential investment opportunities. We still have a coupon code that is active May Day. For those who want to save and try the membership, there's a monthly discount of 50% off the first month. And then we've got a yearly discount for anyone who wants to go for a year to get larger savings. So let's dive in there. Let's take a look and see what's going on today. We're starting with the dollar, and that trend continues. We see a much lower dollar today, down a 0.5%. And that trend does not look like it's turning around at any time soon, at least not yet, with large selling pressure candlesticks the past two trading sessions. Everything that I see has been continuation patterns angled upward as you spill out over time. It's the reverse stair step pattern is what I like to call it. It's a stairway downward. So that looks like it could continue lower. Looking at yields, yields are a large driver of the strength of the dollar. And you got to keep in mind, too, we just recently and freshly broke out of an uptrend here. So this could come all the way back down here eventually to that support level at 90-ish, 97, 98 index level. The 2-year yield was up a little bit today, up 0.5%, but this still looks like a bearish setup at this moment. The falling of this, the upward angled potential pattern here, and we could see this spill out again. So right now, I'm going to remain uh, bearish, or I think lower yields could be coming still. And there's the trend line that we've broken, which is up here. So what we've got is we've got a breakout. It's been bouncing. That's the bounce here. We could even bounce all the way up, but I'm still going to look at this from a perspective of a breakout, retest, wherever it retests, and then a break lower again, potentially. The 10-year yield has been consolidating. So we're looking at a potential consolidation. And when you consolidate like this, you generally get a 3-hump consolidation. So this would be one hump, maybe you might get a second hump or something like that, like this. And then maybe we get a last third one or something. Then we break to the downside. We entered this from the top side down. That generally exits top side down, but we'll have to wait and see. And we've freshly broken to the downside here of that trend line. 30-year yield doing something very similar with the other ones. We've broken to the downside and we've been consolidating sideways at this time. TYX TNX ratio slightly lower. That doesn't necessarily help gold, giving it a large boost or tailwind. When the yield curve, the 2-year was up a 0.5%, the 10-year was down a little bit. So the yield curve actually inverted. This here is just stating that the 10-year, the 30-year went down more than the 10-year, so we inverted a little bit. That doesn't help gold all that much. But again, we're still at a very, very low level. We have a lot of uninverting to do if it does uninvert, which is almost always positive for gold during these large moves on up. But this could stay inverted for a little while, and it could stay inverted for a while longer. TLT, which is bond prices, that's broken out of its downtrend, which is the down. Let me back out a little bit here, guys. This is the downtrend I'm talking about, and then the breakout to the upside. And I do think this will meander its way up a little bit. What that means is that bond prices are going up and yields could potentially go down. That's what we're seeing there. The 2 and 10, we are seeing yield curve inversion today, and the yield curve is still inverted. We are still avoiding that 1% level and dipping much below it. That's generally when a slowdown is, quote, realized. But right now, this looks like a downtrend line break, and we are working our way on up for yield curve inversion. Gold up a little bit today, up about $5.50 an ounce. And we're right on top of this structure here. Are we going to break to the upside, or is this going to be a false breakout where we come back lower? With yields going down, I would say that we're probably going to continue higher. And this is just a small little down candlestick. But we'll have to wait and see. Silver up 2%. That's a pretty big day. Looking pretty good. We had a big bullish engulfing here. That's your, some of these entry points could be good for a move higher. And now it's starting to work its way on up. Longer, bigger picture view, this thing looks like it's going to be on fire, guys. Downtrend line, you also have a resistance line there. That's broken. And I think we could see a big move. Last time we have a similar pattern, this pattern here, is this pattern here. See how that's a similar setup? It broke and ran, and I think we're going to get something very similar to that. We can also see, and now this isn't quite the same setup back there, but there's another setup here, very similar to these other ones there. All very similar setups there. Platinum up a little bit. We are still squeezing in this corner here. Can't wait for a breakout. It's still aligned for that big move. We've been consolidating. Generally speaking, the more you consolidate, like you consolidate here, bigger the breakout's going to be after you break out. So we've been consolidating. This here looks very similar to this here. And I think that is this. So we're consolidating. Hopefully we get a big break here and we get a big old run. And if I were to make a guess, we're probably going to run about 6x. So maybe $5,000, $6,000 an ounce. Very doable over the next bull market. We've got palladium down a little bit, down about 2.5%. Right on support though, right on this support going across and right on the support going across this way. Basically tag that and tag that. And that's where we are resting, is that upper support line. Still looks good to go sideways or higher in the short term. GDX up 1.9%, looking fantastic. There we go. This looks really good. Now, what makes me think this looks really, really good? Well, we've got a big fat flag pattern here that's broken to the upside. We've already done our basing stuff down here. Breakout, retest. Remember that silver fractal. This is the same fractal before a really big move. So I think we're going to get a big move here. In GDX, GDXJ is going to get a big move. It's right underneath that resistance line, ready to rip it. I think it was turtle heading out earlier. There it is. Hey, turtle head. Coming on out. Pretty strong candlestick too. Nice, strong closing. And SILJ also throwing down a 3% up day, basically. That also looks really good. And hopefully this is just one big consolidation, this whole thing here. And then we break out, retest, and then rip it out in the future. But it's going to take some time. XEU to gold ratio, we're seeing the gold and silver mining companies outperform gold. It is up 2.15%. We've broken the downtrend line, and you guys know what I've said. Break the downtrend line. We did. I am ultra bullish. And you guys, part of the website, you know that I've been bullish on the precious metals. And I just went over this past weekend just how bullish I am and why I am so bullish, and the companies that I do think will do well. Hopefully you guys are already in them and are writing them. Crude oil down 2.33%. I do think that this is a resultant of where we're at with yields. We could see this dip before ripping. So be ready for whatever comes. If we do get a little bit of dippage, that is an opportunity in my mind. Then when the liquidity works through the system, which liquidity is going up, I think crude oil is going to it's going to be a monster, guys. It's going to be a monster. TTF gas moving sideways. Not much to report there, but still is bullish. Whenever you get these sideways actions, it's a stair step higher. So that still looking good. Natural gas up about 5% in America, Henry Hub. Not too bad of a candlestick today. We'll see if we get some follow through there to the upside. We've got our boy XOP. Yeah, you know me. Now, we are up today. We're up 0.75%. We've got crude oil down about 2.5%. This is a weird looking pattern, too. The one thing I don't like about it is I don't like seeing these big selling pressure candlesticks and then the small little up days coming up. Makes me think there's still a flush out ready to come. Just that's the feeling I get when I look at this pattern. Whenever you look next to these big selling pressure candlesticks, show me where you get a huge, big rally out of it. Usually what happens is you got to base out or kind of like move sideways for a little while, and then you start to get the big green army. The green army isn't showing up yet, really. So I'm just kind of like looking at this like, where's this green army at? Yeah, so what you see against these next big ones, you'll see like kind of a consolidation, then the green army shows up. So maybe something like this is going to come here and be very similar, something like that. And maybe we have one last little flush out sale where it does something like that. We'll see. We've got OIH up 0.78%. Again, we got this big selling pressure candlestick and these three little guys. Three little guys, little green guys. So I'd like to see more buying pressure in here or getting ultra bullish. And remember, the dropping of the yields, not exactly bullish for energy in the short term. But again, I've seen liquidity, global liquidity is going up, and eventually I think we'll go on higher. Newcastle coal up 1.75%. It actually looks pretty good. So I say sideways or higher. I don't think we're going to go lower here. So that looks pretty good. We've got our nice little base going on here, a bowl shape kind of pattern there. Raw physical uranium trust dropping 1.8%. We're starting to drop outside of this lower support level. And I do think we could head back here, guys. We could even see some selling pressure in some of the equities for a little while longer. I know a lot of people are pretty, sentiment's pretty poor, put it that way. So remain positive on the sector. I still think we're in a bull market. I still think everything is good. And then people are saying, well, why are we going down? That's part of the market, guys. You don't go straight up. A bull market is cast by higher highs and higher lows. That's higher lows coming up the entire way. We had a monster breakout here, and this is the return move we're getting before resuming that move higher. So basically, the move that we received is a breakout from the base. This is our base down here. We broke out of it, and now we're doing the first return move. Your buy point is right down here. If it comes down there and you want to play the uranium bull market, jump on the website, get on this train, and we'll fricking master this thing together. We'll buy and try to buy the lows out of these companies, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. You can see me do it. We've got the uranium futures pricing continuing to work its way sideways here. Could be considered a dead period. If this starts to move on up, what do we do? What's our first move? Our first move is to look at the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust to see what that's doing. This might be a false breakout. It very well could and get everybody off sides. Then we want to go look at the equities because a lot of people are playing the equities. Now, I don't like being next to this large down selling pressure move. Go back to the candles here. And we'll have to see if the futures pricing starts working up or if we get another kind of double bottom going on. Nothing to be worried about, guys. A little bit of downside selling pressure here in URNM, and that could continue down to this low again. We might bounce around a little bit before going higher. All part of the game. All part of the game. And then we got URNJ down a little bit. It's holding on, but we might have a little bit more downside left in this thing. We've got lots of support in here. So that's what we're going to be bouncing off of, probably creating some sort of basing pattern. So just be patient and watch it. We've got copper up 1.2%. This actually looks pretty good. I think it will continue higher. Looking at the bigger picture view, what do we get? A breakout, boom, and a return back to support of that trend line. I think it looks good. Does not look bad. We go higher. COPX also moving on up with the copper price, and that also exhibits a breakout retest. There we are. And you know what I do with retests? Buy them. Iron ore looks like it's trying to put in a double bottom. We'll see if it does that. The momentum is still to the downside here for iron ore. So we got to wait for this to kind of work its way back up and get a little bit of momentum generated to the upside because the momentum is still putting downside pressure on it. Aluminum up 2.68%. We bounced off that support level here, working our way on up. A little bit of selling pressure towards the end of the day, create that wick. But looks okay. And what I'd be doing it with aluminum companies is absolutely nothing. I just hold as they go up. Nickel still trying to find its base down here. We have big downside momentum. This could be a continuation pattern lower. We'll see, but I would just be patient, wait on nickel. But I do think we're probably pretty close to an eventual bottom. Generally, you get a double top. That's what these are there, and then it comes down. Then you come up, comes down like that. And that's generally your bottom is somewhere going to be down there. So we're probably pretty close to it. Moo, breaking to the upside. I think this looks fantastic. Your agribusiness ETF. Your entry point was here on that support zone, and we are breaking to the upside. And this is where I would buy into strength into those companies. Emerging markets working its way up. Why is this going up? Because the dollar is going down and the currencies of emerging markets are getting stronger. You're going to see a capital rotation potentially away from dollar denominated assets towards emerging markets. And that doesn't mean all of dollar denominated assets. It means that some money will work its way into emerging markets. KRE also working up, likes the lower yields, up 1.15%, looking good. We've got TAN also liking the lower yields, working its way on up. We've got lithium working its way on up. Now, this could be an opportunity here, guys. So we've got lithium down here, and I've been searching for companies. This is a retest right here. This is generally where I start looking. If you guys want to challenge me in the midweek update, maybe I'll release a lithium or two. We could still be early, but this is where I call Sprinkle Fest 2024. Maybe I can add a teeny bit, get it on the radar, so to speak, and watch some of these companies. It might take a little bit of time though for this to bottom out, and I'm sure we're very early on this. So I would still be waiting. We could easily still have more downside, but I'd be getting it on the watch list just to see on the radar there. And then remember about potential peak and then the move lower, and we're right at support. REMX also up a little bit. We still have this downside momentum here. These generally point upward almost every time, and we'll see if we get a bottom here or not. I'd be pretty patient. Way early here. Baltic Dry Index just moving sideways at support area. We've got XHB up about 2%. This is another one where we fell drastically right to support. Another big bearish engulfing here, and it looks like we're struggling to go higher. But today, a little bit more buying pressure as those yields continue to fall. So maybe it pulls itself out of this. And I was looking for another like bounce like that. Russell 2000 working its way on up. We are above support now, which is this guy here. You can see the tail end of the candlestick lifting up above support on the monthly. On the weekly, we're coming back up. The S&P 500 up 1%. I am surprised by this action. I thought we were definitely going to roll over. That's what I thought. And we are continuing to work our way on up. So I am wrong, at least in the short term, on the S&P 500. And also the NASDAQ is up there. I thought for sure we were going to start to roll over here. The reason I thought we were going to roll over, and maybe I've got my bearings a little bit off, is that when we go through the expansion phase of real estate, we usually get inflation, which we're getting. Then we get a slowdown, the lower rates, and I was thinking that the slowdown was going to impact the NASDAQ and tech stocks the most. And eventually interest rates would fall. These would fall with it because of the slowdown. And then the real estate market would come back into effect, and then interest rates would go back up again. We'd go down in rates first and then back up again eventually. But that looks like this is continuing to go higher. Uh, we've got the SMCI working its way sideways today. We are still downside momentum still in play. We've got Nvidia up 4%. Again, I wouldn't have guessed this either. I would have thought that this would be topping out, but it very well could be topping out still, potentially. And maybe this is that bull trap that we look for and are worried about. But we'll watch it. We'll continue to watch it and see what happens. But these are some pretty big candlesticks here. Pretty strong upward move there. We've got BTC down a little bit, still looking okay in this downward facing pattern. That still looks good to potentially break higher. I know liquidity is coming into the system. And then Ethereum, also, we got a nice big bullish candlesticks there, and it's consolidating sideways here. So I think this still could work its way on up if it wants to. But that's what I've got for today, guys. So give me a thumb up for the content, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the website if you guys are interested, and we'll catch you guys next time. This is Finding Value.